Hey everybody, good morning. Happy Friday. Out here in the shop, I want to show you this little bench I made, bench cabinet. Finished this up yesterday to this point. I still need to put drawer fronts on it. And it's a purpose-built cabinet. And I built it high. This is up here, I'm 6'2", so this hits me about where my waistline is on my belt. And I wanted it raised up higher than a normal cabinet. I wanted more space down here for drawers, and also wanted my working surface to be comfortable. So my working surface is right here at the lower belly level, so it's comfortable to work at. It's the right height for me. So everybody's different. If you're shorter or taller, obviously that things will be different. But so it's just a 3/4 inch plywood carcass, 1/4 inch back. It's on casters. These casters are lockable. It's where you have these feet here that flip down. So you can pivot this thing around, and then you hit it with your foot to lock the caster. The drawers were built to the cabinet, obviously. Craig jig was utilized for these drawer boxes. So if there's a drawer front that goes on this, these pocket holes are going to be hidden. So the only thing you're going to see when the drawer front is on here is obviously here in the top. And the back of the drawer is done the same way with a Craig jig, but the pocket holes are in the back of the cabinet. So the process I use to make these boxes is pretty down and dirty. This floor was put in afterwards. Normally it's a groove 1/4 inch, and this is inset. What I did is I set this on rails. It was sort of a mistake after the fact. So what I did is I built this box up here, and with 1/4 inch strips, so the floor actually sits on this rail. It's not the correct way of doing it, but you know, it's the way I did it, and I just pinned it in here with some staples. So the Craig jig in the box, real simple construction. They're full slide or full depth of the drawer, so when you open the door or the drawer, you know, you get the full access to the drawer box. Some slides are set up to where the drawer only opens so far, but if you're going to do something like this, make sure you got access to the back of the drawer. The trouble is, on a lot of drawer boxes that are old, you know, when you open it and then you got to dig for whatever's back here and it gets lost. So this way it exposes 100% of the drawer. No soft close. We don't use soft close in the shop. It's overkill. These are set up to where when you close, it closes really easy, and then there's a little sticking point, and basically that keys it in and holds it closed. Right there. So the drawer slides are relatively inexpensive. These drawer slides were purchased at Menards. You can get them in any big box store, I believe, or Rockler. Hardware stores, woodworking stores carry them normally. And there's all different types. There's some under mount. Might be better because of the dust. I might regret this after the fact. I think what I'll do maybe, since this is basically a cabinet that supports cutting, sanding, grinding, I might just put a little apron here on a magnet, and that way it keeps all the dust from actually getting in these slides, maybe like a little curtain here. So I've got the jigsaw mounted to it. I think it's a 1/4-20. Little bolts bolt it down. The motor, I got room here to do something else if I want. The belt sander, and then I've got a vise on that corner over there. So we'll see. I mean, you can reconfigure this later, I guess, if need be, but just a basic cabinet, poplar face frames, 3/4 inch ply. One of the things I wanted to mention on this Craig jig, and Craig jigs are notoriously prone to creep, so if you line this corner up exactly where you want it, and even if you somewhat clamp it and you drive that screw, what it wants to do is push this piece off. And this is a down and dirty method. I go ahead and put glue on it, Type Bond 3, and then I take an 18 gauge pin nailer and I just hit it with maybe 2 or 3 pins, and you know, give it about 3 or 4 minutes. The glue will start to tack and it'll grip, and with these pins to hold it in place, it allows the glue to start to kick, and what it does is stabilize, well, it will stabilize this joint. And if you wait about 5 minutes, the joint gets harder, the glue starts to tack up. So then when you actually drive the screw, it pulls the board in instead of to the side. And on stuff like this, you know, this isn't fine furniture here, this isn't fine woodworking, it's just a utility cabinet from the shop that's super strong and functional. So yeah, put the pins in there, and really, to be honest with you, maybe the Craig is overkill. But once these pins and the glue are in there holding everything together, when you actually drive these screws, you can see a little ooze out here. So you know you're getting a really super strong joint. So I recommend the Craig jig. It's really beneficial. You'll find a lot of uses for it for this type of cabinetry and woodworking. So that's just a quick overview. I think when I do the front panels, I could actually put the whole panel there so it's solid, or I can do a face frame, you know, around the edge and leave this open, and then maybe the face frame that hangs down here, I'd put a notch in it, so that would be my drawer pulls. The idea is I don't want anything sticking out past the front of this cabinet. I want it all flush. So when you're moving stuff or walking by it, you know, you're not getting stuck on the actual hardware. It's perfect. That's a personal preference, but that's just the way I decided to do it. I made the drawer boxes so it's a little bit of clearance down here, the average here, but then this top box is actually set down a little bit. Which when the drawer fronts come on, you're not going to see these different gaps, but I needed more clearance at the top here, so I lowered this box because some of the bolts, you know, and the hardware I used to attach this stuff on the top. So that's just a down and dirty box here. Rolls around really nice. Good casters. Don't scrimp on the casters. I got those at Menards. So a purpose-built bench for sanding and also storage.